Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Glory Glory Man United podcast. And it certainly is Glory Glory Man United for once, beating Everton 4-0 at Old Trafford today. And Ruben Amorim is some coach. He's got Rashford scoring goals. He's got Zirkzee scoring goals. He's got Hoyland scoring goals. We're really on a high here today. Welcome to the show, Brush.
It's a pleasure to be here today, Carl. We've been dreaming of days like this in the Premier League.
Yeah, I know it was only Everton, but we do not score four goals in many games at all. And you could
Yeah,
probably count
listen,
them.
I don't think we won by four clear goals like this under the previous regime. And obviously, as terrible as Everton are, but after like the first four games, they actually settled down and they conceded very few goals. So, this wasn't like written in the stars. We had to go out there and do the business, and we did.
Yeah, United were absolutely ruthless today. Only five shots on target, but four goals. Talk to me, Brush. What about?
German levels of efficiency is what that is, Kyle. No, of course there was like they were terrible defensively and that, but we've seen a week of Amorim so far come in. He's changed the system. We've previously sat here and discussed, can he do it with the players at his disposal? Well, he's made it work, hasn't he? He's made it work. Uh, Surprise for me was how adaptable Mazraoui has been. The fact that he's slotted in at the right centre back, and he's taken like a duck to water, hasn't he? Probably our signing of the season, I would say. I was certainly expecting him to start as a wing back, but in the back three and still being very effective. Ahmad Diallo, wow, um, incredible today. Tenacious pressing, that never say die attitude. That was quite fruitful for him in the end. But again, a player who is actually a winger, and it's only in the past week that he's taken to this role, and he's doing really well, isn't he?
Yeah, it says something that two players scored two goals, yet Ahmad was man of the match. So it shows you just how well he played. He got two assists, but really he created three goals. He doesn't allow defenders any time on the ball. His pressing is relentless, and then when he takes the ball off them, he's breaking at pace, and his final ball is always excellent.
It
And
really is. And even a couple of days ago in the Europa, there was that lovely ball over the top for Rashford, which he should have done better with. But yeah, it's amazing that he's taken to that role the way he has, considering he's had no prior experience in that position.
yeah, I suppose he's the only winger at the club who you could see being willing to track back. So I'm not surprised he's the one that's got the nod in that position because I think Amarim wanted to have a defender on one side and an attacker on the other side in terms of those wing back positions, and that's exactly what he's done. And Ahmad has just been a revelation. Um, the only thing that I'm thinking of at the moment is what happens at Arsenal in terms of Ahmad. Now, he played last weekend, then he was left out um at midweek, and then he's back in again today. Now, Ahmad's arguably our best player, probably certainly our best attacking player. I wouldn't be rotating him out of the team in midweek. If we're going to leave him out, it would be against Forest for me. You want to have your best players available and on the pitch against Arsenal. So I would definitely look to start him that game, even though it's only 3 days away. Um, yeah, so Rashford got two goals as well, albeit let's see if he keeps the first goal. But I think it was on target, and I'm not sure Pickford was going to save it or not, but Jared Bromfield directed it into the net with a deflection. But the second goal was certainly Rashford's, and Rashford obviously scored after like 81 seconds in Amorim's first game against Ipswich. So he's looking rejuvenated at the moment, Brush, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He's been given a new lease of life, and this is what we know he can do, and this is what we've been crying out for: the lack of goals and where it's coming from. So yeah, long may it continue. And then another man who's coming for come under fire, especially from me as well. We've certainly critiqued him on this channel, Joshua Zirkzee. It's nice to see that he can find the back of the net, isn't it? For me personally, I think the jury's still out, but it's a good sign. This it shows that he can be a useful player, even in like a rotational role, and this is what we need him to do. And long may it continue. But it's all about creating chances, really. And we saw that even in the Europa game a couple of days ago. That first half when Hoyland was given a chance, he was working with scraps, and then when he was fed, chances were converted.
I tell you what it shows from Zirkzee is resilience,
Hmm.
because he's really taken it in the neck from fans and journalists, including ourselves, in recent weeks. But the manager said pre-game that he had an inkling that Xerxes was ready for this and he was going to perform well today. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but he was right. Whatever he saw in training, he thought his confidence has returned, and he's up for this. He's up for a start today, and I believe in him. And the manager got it right once again. Two fantastic finishes, and I thought he didn't he set up Ahmad for a chance early on as well, Xerxes, and Ahmad didn't take it.
Yeah, yeah, Ahmad missed a sitter in the first half. He really should have got on the score sheet himself, but we'll forgive him today.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, he may just get a 9 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10 for missing that.
Absolutely. Yeah, but in terms of Zerk, I think we've discussed it on this channel as well. I don't think he's a bad player by any means. The question marks are literally around, does he fit the Premier League? Because we've seen many players come into this league and struggle with the pace of the game and whatnot. Uh, in that 10 role as well, I'm not entirely convinced that he's mobile enough to do that all the time. Um, but we have also discussed, the ability, if he can play off of a striker and that. But yeah, it's an interesting one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, we're going to sign a striker, but Holland and Xerxes will keep themselves in the conversation, and there'll be reliable backup options if they keep playing like this. Um, uh, I want to quickly touch on Rasmus. Actually, midweek he had a fantastic game, scoring 2 goals himself. Um, you were talking about Maserati earlier, there
Yeah.
playing as a right centre back, but he
Hmm.
he popped up in the number 10 position again there to create a goal for Hoyland, showing tricky feet, taking around two players, and digging it into the box. And Hoyland, the
Yeah.
ball doesn't touch the ground as it comes to Hoyland. He toe taps it, and then he just places it into the
And
corner in
and I
between two
tell you
defenders.
what, with a bit more of awareness by Garnacho, Hoyland probably should have had a hat trick.
Yeah, absolutely. But I liked the second goal even more, because that was what we've been missing. Where Mason Mount does the back heel into
Yep,
Ugarte, he pulls it across goal, and Hoyland's there for the top end. Those are the goals that we've missed, and that's what I want to see our strikers
absolutely.
do.
And even in this week, the one thing I've noticed as well, Carl, rotation, rotation, rotation. Hallelujah. Our players look fresh and fit and up for it, and it's so refreshing to see that as well. You can tell that it's a clean slate for everyone. Everyone's getting a chance. Even Anthony got a start the other day, and he, bless him, he did try. It might not have worked out, but he did try. So if I have faith in this coach that you can get a tune out of these players, and that's really good to see.
Yeah, he's managing things really well. He's aware that a number of the players have poor injury records, and he's given them minutes here and there. He's starting them in one game, leaving them out the next, and then starting them
Yeah.
the next game, or else he's
To
giving
be
them.
fair, when you look at the fixture list, I totally understand why he's doing that. I was a tad surprised the other day when he started Malacia. To be fair, but again, he got hooked at halftime, rightly so.
I tell you what, that Bodo Glimt goal, where the ball
Yeah.
over the top and Malacia
Mhm.
was beaten for pace, that was because he had so little football in a year and a half. That's why he
Yeah,
lost that
exactly.
sprint.
550 days without a game, Carl. So it was incredible to me that he started the game. I thought if anything, he would come on as a sub and get some minutes. But either way, he got 45, and it's about right.
Because he's not slow by any means. So the reason why he lost that sprint is because he's been out for so long, and
Hmm.
that cost us a goal. Um, but he's been bringing Luke Shaw on to play a left centre back in all of these games, but he
Yes.
hasn't started a game yet. So he's been very, very careful with him.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, with his injury record, it's understandable, right? And I do see him more so in that left centre back role in rotation, perhaps to give him a break as well, because if he were to play the left sided wing back, it would just be quite tiresome on his legs.
It would be, yeah. He's probably going to be covering more ground than he would have left back if he plays wing back. So
Hmm.
perhaps, what is he, 29 and a half now? He's had a poor
Yeah.
injury record. Maybe centre back is now going to be his position. And with Martinez and Manu being suspended against Arsenal, perhaps Luke Shaw could come in that left centre back position in that game. And he's played a number of games at centre half for United, including in big matches against the likes of Manchester City, and performed really well. So it wouldn't surprise me if he starts that game at left centre half. Um,
If it was any other team, I could definitely see it. Because it's Arsenal, I'm not sure. But then again, what do we do? Alternatively, do we stick Maguire out there?
yeah, and Lenny Yarrow would be a big risk against Arsenal as well,
Yeah,
because
he'd
he
be a risk as well. Yeah, you can't bring him in just yet.
and I have to say, I don't want to get on to negatives too early in the show, but if there's one player who's not been that great in the Amorim era, is probably Matthias de Ligt. Being honest, he's looked a bit ropey at times, and I wouldn't be confident in him playing, in the centre of the back three against Arsenal.
Well, if
Perhaps,
we are playing a back three, though, Carl, the one good thing is Harry Maguire is, has excelled in that position, especially for England over the years.
yes, that's what I was just about to say, because he came on as a sub today, and perhaps that was in preparation for him
Yeah,
starting in midweek.
yeah. I
So it'd
wouldn't have
be,
too many concerns over Delit though. I think he'll carry on quietly doing his business. Um, as the team settles, I think he'll be fine.
yeah, I think he's been very up and down. He's had some good games and some bad games, and I'm just concerned about how easily he gets beaten in the air for such a tall man, and gets out muscled for such a big guy. And I don't know. I don't think he's always having to make like last ditch challenges as well, because I don't think he doesn't seem to read the game as well as others. I don't know. Maybe I'm being overly critical, but
It's
yeah,
probably the pace of the game and the physicality of our league, so I'll give him some leeway there. In time, I'm sure he'll adapt. We'll have to wait and see.
yeah. By no means is he a write off or anything like that.
No, no. But
But
I think it does tell the story, though, that my favourite centre back so far this year has probably been Johnny Evans.
yeah. But that being said, he started to look his age against Ipswich. Um, be, perhaps perhaps that was because the manager is asking players to step up and press, and
Hmm.
he's even you can even see him doing it on the sideline. He's telling people to step up. And
Yep.
when Evans was going in for like a 50-50, he was coming out he was coming out second best. He wasn't winning the ball. So um yeah, and Ipswich are such a young dynamic team, and
Hmm.
I don't know, maybe it was just a bad day. I don't know, but I don't think Evans is going to play regularly.
No.
He wasn't anyway, but I think he might even play even less games. I think he'll only be called upon now to play in the back three if we're literally down to bare bones, which we were against Ipswich. But
Yep.
uh, difficult to know who our best three will be at the back, because we haven't seen Lenny Yarrow yet. We know he's enormous talent, but we need to get a look at him first in the Premier League before we make any decisions. But would Mazarahi's been playing so well at right centre back, so you would assume that was going to be Lenny's position.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where he fits in. Uh, I suppose I know he's been rotating a lot, but you want to pick your best available 11 against Arsenal. So it'll be intriguing to see who he thinks his best 11 is at the moment in that
Hmm.
game. As I say, Ahmad, in my opinion, is our best player. I wouldn't be leaving him out of a game like that, even though
Yep.
he's due for a rest. The way things have been going under Amorim, one game in, one game out. But yeah, he would definitely have to start that game. And obviously, Mazarahi will start. Bruno doesn't. I think he got subbed today, Bruno, to give him a rest, but he's obviously started all the games. That's because of his injury record is absolutely impeccable. And I thought today that he was much better. I didn't think he performed particularly well against Ipswich, but
Hmm.
he's improved in the last two games, and and today was more like his old self. And d- he's Mr. Assist, isn't he? His stats are phenomenal, and he got two more assists today, didn't he? So
Yep.
long may that continue. Yeah, do you know what's great is that rather than our goalkeeper or defenders or defensive midfielder being our best
We can
players,
actually praise the attackers today.
yeah, the forwards have been the best players in the last two games, which
Yeah, yeah.
talked about. And one of them who's been playing, he played well in midweek, didn't even get a kick today. Rasmus Hoyland. Um,
Hmm.
so I'm predicting that he's going to start in at the Emirates, and Zirkzee
Mm,
might be taken out of that game. Rashford will be chopping up the bit to start, and so will Garnacho. He didn't start today.
same, and
Ultimate,
that's what we need. We need them to not just have assurances of their place in the team. We want them all fighting. Creates that hunger.
yeah. Suddenly, all our registered forwards are firing, apart from Anthony. He got his chance in midweek there
Yep.
and didn't really take it, to be honest. So we may not see him start another game unless it's an emergency. But I understand what the manager was trying to do. He wants to be
Hmm.
fair and give everyone an opportunity.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely, and yeah, I respect that. And also, especially in a time like this as well, like because listen, we've got Arsenal Wednesday, then Forest Saturday, and the following week there's no respite either because I think we've got another European game, Victoria Pizan on the Thursday, followed by Man City that weekend. Just 3 days in between as well. So the games come thick and fast in December.
I think 9 games in total in December. It's always a busy month, isn't it? And it'll be
Yeah.
even busier now with the extra European games and
Yep. There's two
the
extra
league
games, isn't there, in Europe now with the change to the format?
and the League Cup quarter final away to Tottenham as well in there, and
Yep.
after the Manchester City game. And yeah, what surprised me today was that it was very on Sean Dyche for them to play an open game of football. But
Hmm.
I think they did that last season at Old Trafford as well. And like, normally Everton get they play a low block and make it
Yeah.
difficult for opponents, and they score goals from set pieces or a bit of magic from Dwight McNeil. But played a real open game of football. It's very bold to do that at Old Trafford.
I was
Maybe they
very surprised. I was very surprised that they came to Old Trafford and did that, especially because of our recent record against them as well. So, yeah, and especially in recent weeks, from what we've seen, where they've kept it tight, I was expecting a frustrating game today, actually. And yeah, you have to say, Onana really wasn't troubled all that much today.
yeah, but when he was called upon, he made a couple of saves.
Yep. About the
Uh,
only thing I didn't like, if I must critique, was probably the header from Calvert Lewin. Uh, he saved it in a very Onana-esque way, where it wasn't very convincing, but he did his job. It stayed out of the net. That's what matters.
yeah, flamboyant.
Yeah.
Uh, the free kick from Bodo Glimt at the end of the game, he could have caught that and he punched
Oh,
it
I'll
out.
tell you what. Yeah, against them, he reminded me of Bartes, just running out doing crazy stuff unnecessarily.
Yeah, he nearly got caught out. Only he
Yep.
tackled the forward and that ended their attack.
Thank
But that was
goodness. Thank goodness he did.
because that was
That could
very
have
very
gone very wrong, and it was so unnecessary. And I was like, "Oh, geez, what is it with this guy in Europe and costing us?"
after he had his best performance of the season against Ipswich, and he's had a great
Yeah,
season
yeah,
overall. I didn't want him
yeah.
then to be at fault for a goal like that with an extraordinary
Absolutely,
error.
yeah. Because last week, I was giving him his plaudits last week. I was like, "Oh, I thought it was exceptional," and then he goes and does that, and just reminds me to keep my feet on the ground.
Dare I say it? That was a De Gea-esque performance against Ipswich from Andre Onana.
I'll tell
Um,
you what. Talking of which, Dave is flying very high in Serie A at the moment.
yes, he is collecting lots of points for that team, as
Yeah,
you'd
yeah.
expect.
I haven't seen today's results, but they were like a point away from the top of the table. But yeah, it's crazy. Serie A, the top five, six teams are in it. It's very interesting stuff.
And he saved two penalties in one match against AC
Yep.
Milan. And You
Yep,
know,
kept a fair
we-
few clean sheets. Has been their man of the match. Yeah, and that's after a year out as well, by the way.
yeah. When you've got it, you've got it. You know, you can afford to take
Hmm.
a year out and just come back and be yourself. Yeah, it's great to see him doing well, and if he
Hmm.
gets a league title out of it, that would be unreal.
That would be
If,
incredible.
especially for them, I'm not sure if they've won the league in a long time or at all.
Oh,
I'm
I
not
don't
too
think
sure.
they have in a very long time. I certainly can't remember a time where Fiorentina have won.
Me neither. Um,
Yeah, even the great teams that I grew up watching with the likes of Rui Costa and Batistuta, I don't think they ever came close in the league like that.
no, they were finishing in the European spots, but I don't think
Hmm.
they won the league.
But
Um,
there's a fair few. I mean, Scotty's doing his thing as well at Napoli, so there's another former player. So
yeah,
if they can get over the line, happy days.
he's a shadow striker, isn't he? And that's what we always said about him.
Yeah.
That's his strongest position, not playing at DM, which is
Hmm.
which more often than not, that's where he played for United. So it couldn't have went better today. We got the clean sheet. We got 4 goals. Strikers getting on the score sheet. That's so all 3 of our strikers have got 2 goals in the last couple of games, and Amorim just seems performing miracles already. I think we've been steadily getting better game on game since Amorim came in. Ipswich was. I think Ipswich probably deserved to win that game, to be honest, and we got away with the draw. And then it was an improved attacking performance against Bodo Glimt with some lapses at the back. And then today we got a brilliant attacking performance and a clean sheet. So it's kind of gradually getting better. But I mean, Arsenal are getting back to their best again. So this is going to be a hell of a test on Wednesday night, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Arsenal got 5 yesterday against West Ham. Uh, Even though Wan-Bissaka got a second
And
goal in 2 games.
and
Um,
Bukayo Saka has been in incredible form, so that's a big threat to watch out for.
and you know what? They really missed Martin Odegaard while he was out injured. It seems like he's almost as important as Rodri is to City, really. And they struggled without him. And since he's came back, they've been back to their best and scoring goals for fun. And yeah, since Arsenal became title challengers under Mikel Arteta, it's been a difficult place for Manchester United to go to. I know we performed reasonably well in defeat in Ten Hag's first season at the Emirates, but this is going to be a hard game because Amorim's only getting started at United. Probably doesn't know who his best 11 is yet, and there's a lot of games he's rotating a lot, and so it is probably one of the probably the second hardest away fixture in the Premier League that we've got next, and anything other than a defeat is a bonus for me at this stage.
Yeah, I would say so. But also, it's a nice little test as well at this stage, even at this early stage, because we can measure where we're at and what we need
Yeah,
to do.
I would be. If I got to choose, I'd rather have this game in maybe a couple of weeks' time after we've had a few more games under
Oh,
Amorim.
absolutely, absolutely, ideally. But then like I say, the games come thick and fast, and then the first week of January we've got Liverpool.
Nothing. We've got so many big games before that. I'm not even thinking about that one.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. So, like, where do we put Arsenal if we were to postpone it? Because City's coming up soon after that one, and then Liverpool in Jan. So, there is no respite in this league.
But this might be a great time to play Manchester City. So, in the last 7 games, they've lost 6 and drawn 1. And the one that they drew, they lost a 3 goal lead and drew 3 each. They
Yeah.
have totally collapsed. What do the Gen Z say on social media? Finished club? Finished club? Uh,
4 losses on the bounce in the Premier League. And Spurs did Spursy stuff. Obviously, battered them last week 4-0, and they drew to Fulham today.
which is great because it means that we will get closer to them. So what was the stat you were telling me earlier about City and United? We're now we got better goal difference than them.
We have a better goal difference than Man City. We are currently just 4 points off them,
Yeah,
which is
per-
insane. So, also, that's another thing as well to celebrate today. Why today is monumental. We finally have a positive goal difference, +4 goal difference now, all in the span of one game. And yet, top half of the table as well. So, no more scrolling when we look at where we are in the league. It's a step in the right direction. And as things stand, we are 4 points away from one of the Champions League spots, currently being occupied by Brighton in fourth. So only 4 points off.
yeah, and Brighton, with all due respect, they're not a team that I feel are going to finish fourth at the end of the season. So, real
It's
opportunity for someone like
incredible.
us.
It's incredible that they're there now after 13 games.
Yeah, there've been so many teams throughout the years that have been in this position even in December and
Yep.
not finished in the top four. I can think of Aston Villa under Martin O'Neill, Wigan under Paul Jewell. I think we're even in this position in
Hmm.
December, and it just wasn't going to happen. Like
Yeah.
Brighton might finish in the European spots, but they're not going to finish in the Champions League. And if I'm wrong, Brighton fans can make fun of me, but I just don't see it. I think
Yeah, I
there's an
think the
up.
only exception to the rule has probably been Leicester, hasn't it, Carl? Because they were doing quite well at Christmas, and everyone expected them to fall away, and everybody else kept beating each other, so they maintained.
Quick mention to Leicester, who are 16th in the league. They've now got Ruud van Nistelrooy as their manager. What's your thoughts on
Van
that?
der Man. I was very happy for him. I knew he wouldn't be out of a job for too long. I am a tad surprised it's happened this quickly and in the Premier League at that. I thought perhaps he would have got a job elsewhere in a foreign league. But yeah, all the best to him. It's a very difficult job he's taken on. If he can survive relegation, then that's more than enough, I'd say.
Yeah, he was in the stands yesterday as they get absolutely battered by Brentford. So he's certainly got a lot of work to do. I hope it goes well for him. Uh, yeah, I've never seen a coach have his reputation enhanced by just 4 games, but that's the way it's turned out. Um, he had a decent spell as United's caretaker manager, and it's got him
And I
the
tell
Leicester
you
job.
what, Leicester. I mean, we played Leicester twice in that time, so yeah, they would have taken a good look at him as well.
Yeah, I think his only objective will be to stay in the league this season, and
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. They haven't got a win in the last five. I don't think they've only won 2 games. It's going to be hard. I think they're only a point off of the relegation spot.
yeah, there's them on 10 points, and then there's 3 teams on 9, and then there's Southampton who
Yep.
are bottom on 5 points.
Yeah, I think they're the only ones that are certain to go down, and then the other, it's a toss up, isn't it, between probably 4 or 5 teams down there.
Tell you what, we're now ahead of Newcastle, Villa, Bournemouth, and Fulham. And it
Yep.
wasn't so long ago that these teams are being talked about as having good seasons, and now they're behind us on the table.
It's
Um,
insane, isn't it, how quickly things can turn.
yeah, and we're closing in on Spurs and Brentford on Nottingham Forest.
Got a better goal
So
difference
yeah,
than Brentford.
yeah, uh, yeah. I can't believe Man City have a goal difference of 3 by December.
Yep.
This is incredible stuff, and I don't. Guardiola is not used to this, and I don't think he just doesn't know what to do. He's scratching the nose off
Mhm.
himself,
Mhm.
and it was still apparent in his interview today that the wound is still there. He didn't. He said that he was harming himself,
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
light of the situation. But yeah, I
He
generally
had to put
think
out a
that.
statement the next day, actually, to clarify that it was just an off the cuff comment. Because it was quite, because, in isolation, I saw the clip of it before I saw the full interview. And yeah, it was quite concerning, to be fair. So yeah, I'm glad he put out a statement to clear it up. But yeah, it's one of those intense pressure jobs, isn't it? So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that, things have showed themselves the way they have.
yeah, like so Liverpool are on 34 points, 9 points ahead of Arsenal, and they are, I think, the table just disappeared on me there. They
They've only lost
are,
one. They've lost one, drawn one, won 11 out of
yeah,
13.
yeah, they lost at home to Forest, if I remember correctly.
Yep,
They could
yep.
easily have avoided defeat in that game and been unbeaten right
hmm
now. But
Yeah, they could have been. The goal difference is crazy as well. They've scored 26. They've conceded just 8, and have the best defense in the league. Uh, all the while with their backup goalkeeper, who is pretty darn good.
and you know what? 5 years ago was the last time City did not win the league, and ironically enough, in that season, Liverpool blew everybody away,
Yeah,
and it's beginning to look like that again. Um,
yeah.
Let me put you on the spot here. Would you take it if Liverpool were to win their 20th title this season, but we win our 21st title next season? Would you be happy with
ah,
that?
it's disgusting, isn't it? It's one of those things, Carl, I can't fathom. But at the end of the season, whoever's there deserves it, don't they? So it's one of those. Um, yeah, I'm always more focused on our team. So it's one of those. If we were guaranteed the title next season, then whatever we must do to achieve it, I guess. That's the best you're going to get
And
out of me. But yeah, it's going to be difficult to stop them unless they have a random decline or injury to key players. I don't really see how anybody makes up that gap now, especially if we get a result against Arsenal as well. Well,
yeah, we'd be helping them by beating Arsenal, but yeah, we've got to
yeah.
focus on ourselves. I don't really
Oh
care
no,
about that team.
absolutely, absolutely. That's all I care about. Yeah, I think we were saying just before the stream started, right? Like these lesser of the two evil conversations. The only way to put that to bed is if we fix ourselves so we can be the ones to be in there to put these conversations to bed.
Yeah, because we've put up with about 12 years of talking about which rival would we prefer to win the league over another
Yeah,
rival.
exactly, and it's a horrible conversation because you don't want none of them to win. But
You
this
know,
one is definitely going to hurt if they get over the line because obviously they equal the record, and you know, and if they do, then I'm certainly not going to argue. If they do it, like what can we really say? If anybody says they're the biggest team in England, it is what it is.
can't there's nothing we can do about it. We can't argue about
Yeah,
it.
nope,
The table doesn't lie. So
it doesn't.
I think it's easier when we know in December that it's very, very likely compared to them winning it at the end in the last game of the season. I think this is
Hmm.
easier because we're going to have 6 months to prepare ourselves for this outcome rather
Yeah.
than them winning it with the last kick of
Oh, you remember a
the
couple
last.
of years ago, Carl, when we had that atrocious final day against Crystal Palace, but then most fans had their eye on the City and Liverpool results because it was all finely
Yeah,
balanced
yeah,
depending on which way the pendulum was going to swing and where the title was going to end up. So yeah, in that sense, you're right. We've got time this time to at least prepare yourself. Still not going to make it any nicer, but it is what it is.
do you, do you see if we're showing massive signs of progress under Ruben
Mm,
Amorim and even pick up a trophy? I'm just going to block that out. I don't care what Liverpool are doing.
yeah,
If
yeah.
we're getting back on the horse again and look like we're going to be challenging very soon, then I'm just not interested in what any other club is doing, to be honest. So,
Absolutely. It's all about us. We have to focus on ourselves. The one thing I will say, though, in this short amount of time that we've seen of Ruben, the fact that he's already implemented change and you can see stylistically the differences. Uh, I thought Jamie Carragher did a very good job, actually, of breaking down our play last week and analysing what he was trying to do. And you can tell that there's teething issues. These players are not used to it. And, for the rest of the season, it's going to be one of those where we're going to see who fits in and who's not going to. And those that don't, I have no doubt in my mind that they will be moved on.
yeah, inevitably, there's going to be players moved on who are not going to fit the
Yeah,
system. Anthony
absolutely.
looks certain at the moment.
Yeah, especially with the wages he's on and everything. And we've seen the level of ruthlessness that we're now capable of in terms of how we got rid of Jadon Sancho. So I can definitely see something similar happening with Anthony. Um, how our transfer window is going to look as well is going to be interesting now because obviously our style is different. We have different needs now to suit what's being built. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. There's one or two players now that come to mind for me where I'm thinking, oh, we should be in there. Like, for instance, at the end of the season, Alfonso Davis, his contract at Bayern is up. And I know Real Madrid are favourites, but, with this system and style, it makes a lot of sense if we were in the race for someone like him who can bomb down that left hand side.
Yeah, well, Real Madrid were favourites for Laniero, and
Yeah, yeah.
look, if we finish fourth or third, we look like a team who's going places under
Hmm.
a man who's arguably the best young coach in Europe. Players are going to be
Yeah.
attracted to that.
Oh, absolutely. That's the thing. We have to make sure that we play good, attractive football and then sell players on a project. And if they're sold on a project, they're not going to come just for money. And we needed to get away from that model anyway of people, of mercenaries just coming for money. We don't want another Di Maria situation.
No, I think those days are over. Um,
Yeah.
I just want to mention something regarding an Everton player today who's 39 years old, and he looked every bit of it again. He was absolutely rinsed by Bruno Fernandes on the left wing position at the Stratford end, and you're like, why is he doing this to himself? And why does he continue to play on? And what's such a good Premier League player who's had a fantastic career, um, 9 years at United, and he's not doing himself justice anymore. Um, I know it's a short career and he wants to prolong it as much as possible. But really, he should be playing MLS football now at this stage. So,
Hmm.
but it was helpful to us today because I'm quite happy if Everton are playing 11 39-year-olds against Man United because that helps us enormously. But it's sad to see him getting embarrassed in some weeks in the Premier League now.
Yeah, but it's difficult, isn't it? For some, I think it's hard to just accept when it's time to move on. And then obviously when you're attached to a club for so long as well, it's hard to say goodbye, isn't it? So it's one of those. Um, yeah, uh, like you say, I'm happy if if opposition teams want to play old players all day, every day against us. But yeah, yeah, it's also not nice to see somebody get embarrassed in such a way.
Yeah. No, not especially one of our former players, but as I say, quite happy for him to play against us. But yeah, he should be considering retirement at this point or going off to America or something. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so just going to do some player ratings as we usually do, and let me just get them up here. So Onana would get a 7, Mazarahi a 7, who's always at least a 7, sometimes more. Delict 6, Martinez a 7, Casemiro a 6, Menu a 6, Dallo a 6, and then the high scores start here with
Oh, with Dallo, I did think he improved today. There was one challenge he made I was really happy with when he got across and got the tackle in, and you can tell he's putting in effort because he looked a bit shaky on that left hand side as well. Um, over the course of the week, and today I thought he'd improved a bit.
yeah, but I want to see a left-footed wing back in there,
Hmm. Hmm.
eventually.
He's very. I
He-
mean, we've discussed Dallo many times before. I think we both agree that he's just a utility rotational option. We need
yeah, I know
of all the positions. Sorry, go on.
people think he's a superstar and he's going to be part of
Yeah,
the United team
yeah,
that wins the league again, but I don't
yeah.
subscribe to that. I think
I mean, he
that
can be part of the squad.
yeah, I said team, and I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
Um, one or two things are going to happen, in my opinion. He's going to be a squad player when we succeed under Amarim. or else he's going to be sold for a decent fee to a European club somewhere. And I know that he has his suitors. People, there is clubs out there that like him,
Hmm.
and they might pay 20 to 30 million for him. AC Milan certainly liked him, and
Yeah, yeah, possibly, possibly. Uh,
he's already played there, of course, on loan. So we'll see what happens with that. If we bring really good wing backs in, there could be an he might move on because he's not going to play centre back. There's absolutely no
yeah,
chance of
no, no, no.
that.
There are a
So
few that I've got to keep. I've got an eye on actually. In the league, in our league, Out
Bournemouth,
Nuri at Wolves.
Bournemouth,
Uh,
you want to say Bournemouth, aren't you?
Kirkez as well at Bournemouth. He's quite young, so those are two exciting ones. The Wolves situation, you'll have to keep an eye on because if Wolves get relegated, you could have a potential bargain on your hands with the Out Nuri one. And then yeah, obviously dream signing would be someone like Alfonso Davies.
Yeah, I would love Davis to come to United. I think, and Omar Barada is very, very ambitious, and he likes to make
Hmm.
things happen. He made it happen with Lenny Yaro. He made it happen with Ruben Amorim. So don't be surprised if we
Yeah.
get Alfonso Davis as well. So just to finish on the player ratings, these for once all the forward players are going to be high. So Bruno Fernandes in Rashford an 8 also, Ahmad a 9, and Zirkzee an
Yeah.
8. And the manager gets an 8 for a 4-0 victory at Old
Hmm.
Trafford in his first home league game as head coach now. That's the official title.
Yeah.
Um, so I would definitely just take a draw against Arsenal. It's going to be enormously difficult game. We're playing one of the best teams in the league, and unfortunately, we're playing them at the wrong time. They had a really bad spell there in October, November time. They were losing
Yeah.
games. They were suffering without Odegaard. They
Hmm.
weren't scoring as many goals, and they were getting red cards all over the place. That would have been the good time to play them, but of course, the fixture list didn't work too kindly in our favour, and we're playing them when they're back on song again.
Yeah,
Um,
and like I mentioned earlier, like Saka's bang on form now as well. He's had attacking returns in the last two games, goals, assists. He can do it all. That kid.
so it's no absolutely no point whatsoever in trying to predict the 11 under Umar because,
Oh, absolutely not.
but I can pick a few certainties. Mazrahi, Bruno Fernandes, Onana, they'll
Yeah,
be certainties.
yeah.
Um, I think Ugarte would probably start that game because he didn't play
Hmm.
today,
Hmm.
and it's an away fixture against one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah,
You need your best number 6 playing in that match.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think because Hoyland didn't start today, he'd probably play that game. But
Mm.
it's anybody's guess who's going to be the supporting cast for Hoyland. Uh, Garnacho probably because he didn't play today. But
Yeah.
as I said from the start, Ahmad absolutely has to be in our best 11. When
Oh,
we're
yeah.
playing,
I think he will be. I'll be very surprised if he's dropped.
and Luke Shaw could replace Martinez. Uh, Unless he plays Maguire, Delict, and Mazrahi, but we'll see.
Hmm.
Um, you want to have a left-footed player left centre half, ideally, but it's not absolutely necessary.
Yeah, it's not a necessity to be honest. I swear this never used to be a thing, back in the day. I know certain managers are very iffy about it. I know Ten Hag certainly was. He preferred to do that. Van Gaal was when he came. Phil Jones had issues with that. But yeah, yeah, I remember back in the day. You just stick a centre back in left or right. It was fine. They were adaptable.
Yeah, but I want to have pace in there as well.
Hmm.
Like you wouldn't want a back three of Martinez, Maguire, and Delict. That would be far too slow, in my opinion. Lanier will offer us pace. Uh,
But with Euro, like I've just not seen enough of him. Like we'd have to introduce him somewhat slowly, I would imagine, and just see what level the kid is at.
yeah, at the minute that he's not even training every day.
Yeah.
He trains one day and then he does a recovery day the next. Because I
Hmm.
remember there was an open training session midweek there, and he was not part of it because it was one of his rest days.
Yeah.
Um, so I knew he wasn't going to play this weekend. But it's impossible to guess what game he's going to make his debut in, and whether it's
Hmm.
going to be a starter or sub appearance. But you wouldn't expect it to be at the Emirates against Arsenal, like
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, absolutely.
so probably maybe Victoria Blazon or whatever your
Hmm.
name is, next midweek, or at home to Forest. I don't know. It wasn't so long ago that Forest were in the top four, but they've lost a few games now, and I think they've dropped down a bit.
Yeah, they lost two in the last three, and they've dropped down to six.
Although they did beat Ipswich yesterday,
Hmm.
something which we couldn't do.
Yep.
Uh, so yeah, things looking rosier again. As I said, we're improving game by game under Ruben Amorim, and we're going to have to step it up another gear if we're going to win at the Emirates.
Oh,
Or even get,
absolutely. This is a real test, and already, like it's a work in progress, isn't it? Because last week, in that frustrating result against Ipswich, he was saying, the players, they were kind of overthinking things sometimes and unsure of passes. So, it is a totally different system and a style. So it's a learning process.
yeah, but they're getting better. The only
Yeah.
thing at the Emirates is one of those games where we can play well from an attacking point of view, get a
Hmm.
couple of goals, look good going forward, but any wee mistake at the back will be justly punished
You're
by
going to
Arsenal.
get punished, aren't you?
Yeah,
I think, yeah, the one that sticks in my memory in recent years is the one where bloody Eddie Nketiah turned up.
yeah. There was, I think you're referring to the one in Ten Hag's first season
Yeah.
where Rashford scored from distance to open the scoring,
Hmm.
and Arsenal went 2-1 up. Martinez scores a diving header to
Yep.
equalise, and then
That's the
Arsenal
one.
score right at the end of the game to win
Right at
three
the end.
two.
Yeah, yeah. Right at the end. Eddie Nketiah. Probably one of the few times he turned up as well. And it's typical, and it had to be against us. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's been a little while since we won at that ground. I remember we
Hmm.
used to win there quite a bit, but yeah, I think it's been a little while since they've got better. It's been
Yeah.
harder to win that fixture, and you know what it's like for them. And we could be 13th in the league, they could be
Hmm.
top, and this will be their fucking cup final.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
yeah,
It's one of those, isn't it? Where you'd like to think that league form almost goes out the window because I know certainly that way. Usually, well, when we used to play Liverpool, it was like that. It didn't matter who was, how either were doing in the league.
Football Power Hour says, hit the like and subscribe, guys. Ruben's Reds are rumbling. I love the
I see what you've done there, but
yeah, this is fantastic. This is exactly what we want. This has exceeded my expectations. I thought United would maybe win 2-0 today or 2-1, but
yeah,
4-0. That's that is unbelievable. Even though it was against Everton, because we just in recent years we just don't do this. We don't beat teams by four clear
no,
goals.
we don't. We don't put them to the sword, and we could have had more goals today, which is the other positive as well.
Yeah, and Onana has 6 clean sheets now. I think he may be top of the clean
Yep,
sheets table again. Was he
yep.
the Golden Glove last season?
I
Uh, I, th-
don't think so. Was it? Who was it last season? Was it Nick Pope? I don't know.
I thought he did win it, but because I remember being so ironic because he was
Hmm.
so poor. But yeah, uh, yeah, we were pretty boring under Ten Hag for the most part. We
Oh,
were
David
keeping
Raya won it.
David Raya. Well, I think Onana
Yeah,
was top at one point. I think that's maybe what I'm
yeah.
thinking of. But
Hmm.
yeah, we were keeping a decent amount of clean sheets last season, but not scoring many goals. We must have been one of the most boring
Oh
teams in the
wow.
league.
So yeah, yeah. So this is amazing. So David Raya finished with 16 clean sheets, and Onana had nine, and he was in fifth place with nine. Funny enough, second place was actually Jordan Pickford with 13.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah,
Leno and Edison were the other two with 10 clean sheets apiece.
Right. So he'll be targeting the Golden Glove this season, although of course it
Hmm.
doesn't. It's only a side issue, really. I think he would be happy with team silverware than that. But
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it helps though, doesn't it? It helps the cause. Helps with the goal difference, and with how tight this league is, things like that could make a difference in final positioning.
but the Europa League might be a chance for us, even though it's just a relentless amount of games. So
Yeah.
we're getting higher in that table. I want us to get one of the automatic spots. We're going to Czech Republic next on the 12th of December. Hopefully, we'll get three
Yep.
points there. But I mentioned previously that we've got Rangers at home in January, and
Hmm.
that seemed like a certain 3 points. But see, Rangers away record in Europe is phenomenal. They just midweek there they went to Nice and won 4-1. They're 4-0 up, I think, at half
Yeah.
time. Uh, uh, at least 3-0 up at half time anyway. And I remember even when they got far in that competition in the past, their away record was always what got them through.
They got to the final a couple of years ago, didn't they? Against I think it was Eintracht Frankfurt.
Eintracht Frankfurt, they lost on penalties.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Owen Ramsey missed the decisive penalty. Of
yeah.
course, they got to the
Very
final.
unlucky.
They
Very
got to the
unlucky.
final in
Especially sorry, God, go ahead.
they got to the final in 2008, of course, as well, and lost that too
Yeah.
against Zenit St. Petersburg in
Hmm.
Manchester. And
Oh
they've
yes, because then we went on to play Zenit, didn't they? And they beat us in the Super Cup.
yeah, and Rangers
Yeah.
fans were obviously frustrated at not winning the UEFA Cup, and they
Hmm.
caused a lot of damage to the city centre of Manchester, shall we say.
Mm.
Thus, the council banned
Which is
United from
why.
having a victory parade.
Yeah, yeah. That I still feel salty about that one. I can't lie.
A lot of United
Uh,
fans are still salty about that one because I remember what
yeah,
I
yeah.
wa-
To not have a parade after what we did, it's an
yeah,
injustice.
and those achievements don't come around very often.
That's
Uh,
the thing. That's the thing. The Champions League, like it's a blessing to win it just once. Even you don't know when that's coming around again, and that
I
really it deserved a bus parade. Rio Ferdinand still talks about it now. It pisses him off as well.
I was watching the Stratford Paddock podcast
Mm,
recently, and they always go off on a tangent and talk about random things. And there's like I
yeah.
think it was four of them on that day, and they were talking about that we play Rangers in January, and
Hmm.
some of them were saying, I can't stand Rangers. I always go back to when our victory parade was cancelled in 2008 because of them.
Yeah.
So United fans have certainly not forgotten that, and would
Yeah.
certainly enjoy.
We must keep in mind though, it's only a subsection of the fans. We can't just brand the whole fan base responsible for what happened.
Yeah. Let's see how it goes. Rangers are higher in the Europa League table than us. I think they're in the automatic spots.
Yeah,
Is
yeah. Mind
uh,
you, listen, I was quite shameless on there a while back saying, hey, we're undefeated in Europe. Now, all of a sudden, with a victory as well to boot, it's not looking bad. It's not
two
looking bad.
victories, two
Yeah,
victories.
yeah, yeah. With the victories on the bounce, it's all right.
Hopefully a third
Uh,
one.
if we could scam our way into that top eight so that we qualify automatically, that would be brilliant. But to be honest, I'm just looking to qualify, so I won't complain, even if we have to go through via playoffs. It's just imperative that we stay in the competition for me.
Yeah, they do have a good away record on Europe, especially this season. But
Yeah,
we have a
because
good
I on
record
paper,
against them.
Kyle, on paper, yeah, because on paper I look at those teams in that league, and we should be right up there. The only one that really concerns me maybe is Lazio, who are having a great season domestically as well. But again, that talk is a long way away. Whoever you come up against, you have to do well, right?
Yeah, as I was saying, I remember playing Rangers in the Champions League, 2010, I think it was, and then I think we've played them again recently, but we do have a good record against them, beating them home and away. No, it was 2010 and 2003. I remember Phil
Mm.
Neville scoring the winner against them at Ibrox, and then Wayne Rooney scored a penalty to win at Ibrox, and I think we beat them 3-0 both times at Old Trafford.
Hmm.
But I do remember Kirk Broadfoot breaking Tony Valencia's leg in one of those games, and then he missed about 9 months because of that.
Mm.
Um, But there's the Czech side, there's Rangers, and then there's somebody else left in this competition. I'm sorry, you're going to have to help me out here. FCSB. I'm completely at a loss, to be honest with you. I've no idea which country they're from. No, Romania,
FCSC. Yes, I think so. Yeah, it is.
Bucharest.
It's yes. It's basically what used to be Steaua Bucharest. They've just renamed themselves. Yeah,
Okay,
formerly named and still sometimes referred to as Steaua Bucharest. They've actually got rich European history. One-time Champions League winners in the 80s.
I was going to say I remember that, but that's a lie.
It
I
was before
I'm
both of our time.
I am. I think the correct way to put it is I'm aware of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I say before both of our times. I think it was in the late 80s, so I might have been around. Just way too young to remember.
like I'm aware of Marseille winning the Champions League, but I don't remember that at
Hmm.
all.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
um, I think that had taken off them and give it back to them again. By the way, there's a bit of knowledge
Hmm.
for you. Um, so things looking a lot rosier under the new manager. The new manager bounce is starting to kick in as the players get used to his methods, his style of play, and his tactics. And yeah, he's kind of not only is he very much because this is an interesting one. He gives them 2 days off after a game.
Hmm.
It used to be, I remember in the past under managers it was one, and they'd be back the following day, but he gives them 2 days off rest. So maybe that's the way to go, especially with all these injury problems we've been having in recent years. I
Yeah,
know,
perhaps so. Because with the high intensity workload, do you think that might be one of the things that have been contributing to some of our injury problems as well?
yeah, being very careful with Mason Mount
Mm.
as well. 58 minutes he got in midweek, and he got a few handful of minutes today. Um, he could be in contention to start at the Emirates, but he's been very, very careful with him, and that's the right
Hmm.
course of action.
Oh,
Look,
absolutely. Yeah. What else can you do?
because if you play him 90 minutes here, 90 minutes again the next game, he's just going to get
Yeah.
injured again. You
Yeah,
know.
he's just going to get crocked again. So yeah, you have to be very careful. And the thing is, I know people are annoyed with Luke Shaw, but what can you do? He's made out of biscuits, unfortunately. I don't think anyone goes out intentionally trying to just sit out and fake injury and stuff. And obviously because of the kind of contract he's on, when people just yell, "Oh, sell him, get rid of him," it's not going to happen. The best thing we can do is make use of his talent, and make sure we look after him the best way we can until the contract is up.
Yeah, and if he's playing left centre back, he's going to be covering less distance and less
Exactly.
miles.
So yeah, yeah, a bit of a respite for his legs because obviously in this kind of system as well, the physical demands if you're playing that role is a lot. Unfortunate for him because on his day I think he could have been very effective in that role, but those days are gone. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. At 24, he would have been a perfect left wing back for
Yeah,
Manchester United.
absolutely. Because yeah, he is on his day. He still is our best on paper, but yeah, now, yeah, he can still do a job though. Because I can't see us like releasing him because they won't pay out the rest of that contract. It doesn't make sense, especially for Ineos.
So we came on today with Harry Maguire. Uh,
Yep.
and Ellis in the comments here says no one is talking about Luke Shaw. Impact just for a few minutes was impressive. Did you go along with that, Brush?
He looked all right. Yeah, he looked all right for me.
Yeah, he's been, as I say, he's made a sub appearance in all of Amraim's games, but yet to
Yeah, yeah.
start a game. Um, and imagine if he does start a game soon, that he will come off in that game as well. He's just
Hmm.
going to be managed very, very carefully, like Mason Mount.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like he's not done much wrong, but obviously, as he sees more minutes, I think people will talk about him. Uh, but the only reason he's not been mentioned, I think, is because other people have shined, which is a good thing and a refreshing change for us.
If we get a draw at the Emirates, I'll be absolutely delighted, to be honest, given where both teams are in the league and the form of Arsenal, and it's an away
Hmm.
game. Would have loved to have got a ticket for that match, but that's just
Hmm.
a pipe dream, really. Yeah,
And yeah, and I did look it up, and Steaua Bucharest won it in '86. For anyone wondering, and yes, that was before my time.
definitely
I
before.
came along the following year in '87, in Fergie's first season in charge, and I think Porto were the team to win the Champions League that year. There's a bit of trivia for you guys.
Porto, was it?
In '87.
Wasn't aware of that. I know they won in 2004, but I didn't know that they won it in
Yeah, they've
'87.
won it twice. Same as Benfica, actually, in the early '60s. Also won it twice. They won
I
it
know
back to back.
both anybody who won it in that period is helped massively by the fact there were no English teams in the competition.
Yeah.
Uh, but there we go. Nice history lesson there from the lads. But
hmm
um, please everybody smash the like on the video for watching on YouTube. Get more of your comments in and subscribe to the podcast, whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. And thanks as always, Brush. Good to have you on.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
It certainly is. And hopefully there's more 4-0, 5-0 victories as the season goes on and more positive podcasts. And because that's what we want, because we've been starved of that since we started doing this show.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, for our fans, like, don't be afraid, man. Don't be afraid that, this is just a flash in the pan. Like, it's okay to celebrate. Because I know one or two fans I've spoken to this past week, they've been a bit cautious and a bit apprehensive, and they're scared of a big win almost because they're going to think then they start thinking it's a false dawn. You just have to live in the moment and enjoy these victories when they happen.
Could you imagine how carried away we're going to get if we actually win midweek?
I mean, obviously keep your feet firmly on the ground, but yeah, let's hope for the best.
We're going to be start talking titles if we win at the Emirates on
Oh,
Thursday night.
you know what this fan base is like. They're probably started talking about that today.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I'll see you later.
Yeah. Catch you next time. Take care.